Assalamualaikum dear students, hope you are fine by the grace of Almighty Allah. Welcome to NIAVS Home School. I am Sabreena, Haque, assistant teacher of Science, National Ideal English Mission School, Day Shift. Dear students, today I am going to take a chemistry class for class 9 student on the based on chapter 7, and this is the part 4 of the chapter. So let us move forward to this topic. Dear students, today we will start from the special types of chemical reaction. First one is hydrolysis reaction, the chemical reaction in which water as a reactant react with other component and produce some new component, like is called the hydrolysis. Like silicon tetrachloride react with water, produce silicon tetrahydroxide and hydrochloric acid, and here the water molecule divided into H plus OH minus, these two part. Here this types of reaction is known as the hydrolysis reaction, and here silicon tetrachloride and water are precipitating in a reaction, so the hydrolysis reaction, and this kind of reaction sometimes produce non-transparent soluble compound, and in this case the reaction may be considered as a precipitation reaction. Now come here, this is the aluminium trichloride react with water, produce aluminium hydroxide. This is precipitate, and along with aluminium hydroxide it produce the hydrochloric acid, and these types of reaction it is hydrolysis reaction also, because here precipitate the aluminium hydroxide, that's why it is known as also precipitation reaction. Now come to the hydration reaction. We already learned about the hydration reaction slightly in our previous chapter. We learned about the blue vitriol, and they are saying about this: one or more molecules of water combined with ionic compound during formation of crystal lattice. This kind of reaction is called the hydration reaction. Dear students, here copper sulfate and 5 molecules of water produce the pentahydrated copper sulfate, and this also known as blue vitriol. Now come to next one, zinc sulfate and 7 molecules of water produce heptahydrate zinc sulfate, and ferrous sulfate with 7 molecules of water produce heptahydrate ferrous sulfate. Calcium chloride with 6 molecules of water produce hexahydrate calcium chloride. Magnesium chloride plus 7 molecules of water produce the heptahydrate magnesium chloride. Hydrogen reaction is basically similar to addition reaction. Dear students, look, this is two things joined together makes one thing, so we can say it is a addition reaction. And in addition reaction there is electron exchange, while in hydration is not. That is the difference between the hydration reaction and the addition reaction, because here no electron exchange is occurs. Now come to isomerization. Two compound with similar molecules formula and with different properties are called the isomer and of to each other. This is the definition of isomer. You have to memorize it. A chemical reaction in which atoms in a molecules rearrange themselves to form one isomer to form another isomer is called isomerization. And for example, here the if we give heat to ammonium cyanide, we will get the urea. This is the ammonium cyanide. After applying heat, we get the urea. If we count here the number of molecules, here H4N2CO, and here also H4N2CO, and so they are isomer of each other, but for their arrangement of their atoms they are known as two different types of compound, and but their number of atoms are same, that they are isomer. Another one is if you apply heat to ethanol and it will turn into methoxymethane, and they are also isomer to each other because they have the same number of atoms. Now come to polymerization. A large number of molecules of same compound combine together to form a large molecule of heavy atomic mass under the effect of high temperature and pressure and catalyst, and this reaction is called polymerization. And look here, under the 200 degree centigrade temperature and 1200 atmospheric pressure, in the presence of a catalyst, here catalyst is oxygen, ethylene turns into polythene. Here n number of molecules we need because the polythene is a huge atom, and that's why it has a heavy atomic mass and it is a large molecule. How many ethylene we need, that is not indicated here, that's why we are saying here, writing here only N, and this is the ethylene. And after giving 1200 atmospheric pressure and 200 degree temperature and in presence of oxygen, here oxygen is catalyst, we get polythene. We get polythene. Now come to the next one, examples of a real life chemical reaction. Chemical reaction in really we observe many happening as every day which cause the chemical reaction. Now first one is rust. We know the iron in presence of atmospheric oxygen and in presence of water vapor react with each other, produce ferric hydroxide, and this ferric hydroxide transform into rust. Dear student, this is the chemical formula of rust. Ferric hydroxide multiplied with n molecules of water. This number of water is not indicated here, it is written here n. N may be 1, 2, 3, 4 except any integer. That's why there is written n, and this is the chemical formula of rust. Now come to prevention of corrosion of copper and aluminium. Students, this is the interesting thing. When copper and aluminium product come to touch of open air, that they produce the layer of copper oxide and aluminium oxide. That means when copper react with oxygen, it produce copper oxide, and this copper oxide prevent the corrosion of copper. This copper oxide prevent the corrosion of copper. Again, the aluminium, when aluminium came contact with oxygen, that produce aluminium oxide, and that also prevent the corrosion of aluminium. This is the interesting thing. Now come to the relief from bite of ant and bee. When ant or bee bite us, we feel pain in the spot of wound. We use lime on the spot to get relief from pain, because when ant or bee bite us, they have some acid in their mouth, and that acid get inside our body and we feel pain. We know lime is a base, and this base react with that acid we get in by the biting of bee and ant, and that base react with that acid, it neutralize and we feel relief from the pain. Now come to the energy produced through respiration. And respiration occurs in every cell of our body. In respiration, basically glucose molecules is oxidized by oxygen, in process carbon dioxide, water and energy. And here is the chemical reaction. Glucose burned with 6 molecules, 1 molecule of glucose burn with the help of 6 molecules of oxygen, produce 6 molecules of carbon dioxide, 6 molecules of water, and along with it we also get energy. Now this is hydrochloric acid react with magnesium hydroxide, produce magnesium chloride and water, and again hydrochloric acid react with aluminium hydroxide, produce aluminium chloride and water, and their number of energy is produced, and that's why it also energy produced reaction. Now come to next one, natural gas as the fuel. Natural gas used as fuel, and maximum percent of natural gas is composed of methane, and when this methane gas is burned in oxygen, it produces carbon dioxide and water vapor and also heat. And when come to this reaction, here methane react with 2 moles of oxygen, produce carbon dioxide, water vapor and energy. And there is the interesting thing, if we don't give the 2 mole of oxygen, that methane, when methane burn, that time it produce, that means methane and 1.5 molecule of oxygen, that time it produce carbon monoxide, water vapor and energy. If we don't give the 1.5 also, we give only 1 mole of oxygen, that time methane burn with that oxygen and produce carbon, water vapor and energy. That means it depends, the burning of methane, what thing will produce, that depends on the supply of oxygen. If the supply of oxygen is sufficient, the carbon dioxide, water vapor energy will produce. If the supply of oxygen is has some shortage, that time carbon monoxide, water vapor and energy produce. If there is less oxygen, that time carbon, water vapor and energy produce. The ways of prevention of some harmful reaction. Many products around us continuously being decayed or eroded due to some chemical reaction, and we can make use of our knowledge of chemistry to prevent such decaying and save many of them. To prevent the corrosion of rust, one can paint the outside of the iron product so it does not come contact with air, and the coating of comparatively less active metal on iron is through electrolysis, which is called electroplating, and this is also save iron from rusting. The process which lays a coating of zinc on other metal is called the galvanizing. Dear student, in electrolysis there is no definite metal, only we are used less active metal, but when we are used zinc on other metal, that is known as galvanizing. The process which lays a coating of a metal on another metal through electrolysis is called electroplating. Now the roof or the yield of our houses becomes slippery during rainy season, and we spread sand on those slippery spots. The slippery substances is alkaline, and sand has the quality of base, and that is why the sand neutralizes the alkaline there. Now sewing needle are kept in coconut oil, that's why the needle can't came contact the oxygens which stay in the air, and that's why it prevent to get it is prevent the needle for getting rust. Now come to rate of reaction. Dear students, the amount of product produced from the reactant per unit time is called the rate of reaction, and you have to learn this definition. Now come to the Shatterias principle. For knowing the Shatterias principle, we have to first know what is the equilibrium, and we already learned the definition of reversible reaction. Reversible reaction, in the reversible reaction, the reactant can make, when the reactant can make the product same, at the same time product also break down into reactant, or product also make the reactant. also that is the reversible reaction. Then when the reactant react and produce new substances, that are called forward reaction. When the product again react with and revert back to reactant, that are called backward reaction. And dear students, you have to learn the forward and backward reaction definition. And at the start of the reaction, the forward reaction has higher rate, and it decreases gradually with the progress of time. Again, at a start, the rate of backward reaction remains slow, but it increases gradually with the progress of time. At a stage, both rates become equal. Then this state is known as equilibrium of reversible reaction. Dear students, before seeing the graph, we have to see the Shatterias principle. At the equilibrium of the reversible reaction, if any of the factors, the temperature, pressure and concentration of the reaction, these three are the factors, that means temperature, pressure and concentration are the factors, is changed, the equilibrium position will shift in such a way that affects the factor is neutralized. That means the equilibrium may be shift on left or right to balance the reaction, to neutralize the effect of factors. Now come to the graph. This is the graph of Shatterias principle. Here the rate of forward reaction in the first time, there is no product, only the reactant is very high, and when with the help of time the number of reactant become less, and here in the first of the reaction the rate of the backward reaction is very low, and with the time this rate is become higher, and when in this place they meet with each other, that means they get the same rate of reaction, and this is the similar line of their rate of reaction. If we look from the outside, it thinks there is no reaction, but the reaction is going here. How much the forward reaction is occurring here, that much for backward reaction also occurring here. That's why it looks like a rest. This phase looks like this is a rest phase, but it is not true. But here also the chemical reaction going on both backward and forward reaction, the number of reaction will be equal. Here look, the hydrogen and iodine react with each other and produce hydrogen iodide. Then if it is in a closed jar, again the hydrogen iodide break down into hydrogen and iodine. That means when the starting of the reaction, there is only hydrogen and iodine, there is no hydrogen iodide. When after some time some hydrogen iodide we will get, and that hydrogen iodide also break down from the hydrogen to the hydrogen and iodine, and after a certain time this both reaction getting same rate of reaction. That means how many hydrogen and iodide produce hydrogen iodide, and that many hydrogen iodide breaks down into hydrogen and iodine, and that is the equilibrium phase of the reversible reaction. Now come to the explanation. Then what is the effect of heat? Here this is written, there is three factors: temperature, pressure and concentration. Then if we apply heat in the this chemical reaction, this is nitrogen and hydrogen produce ammonia, and here this is the exothermic reaction. The del H is equal to minus 92 kilojoule. That means here heat is produced. If we apply heat to this reaction, that time the backwards reaction increases. and thus they neutralize the effect of factors. Thus they neutralize the effect of factors, and the equilibrium of the chemical equilibrium just shift to left. This equilibrium in these reactions, equilibrium shift to left to neutralize the effect of factors. Now come to next one. Nitrogen and oxygen produce nitrous oxide. Here for this reaction we have to give the 180 kilojoule temperature, and here the del H value is plus 180 kilojoule, and here if we apply heat, the forward reaction will be higher in rate, and for the neutralization, the effect of factors, the equilibrium line will be shift to the right side. The equilibrium side will be shift to the right side. Now come to the effect of pressure, and for that we have to know something. That means to effect of pressure, here the reactant and the product all have to be gaseous phase. All have to in gaseous phase, and there have to be a difference in mole number. Like here there is 1 mole of nitrogen and 3 mole of hydrogen, so there is 4 mole, and here is only 2 mole. Here is only 2 mole. Now dear students, the system is, if we apply pressure to this reaction, the number which number is greater, from there it shifts to the lowest one. That means the effect of pressure will be neutralized through it is equilibrium by shifting the equilibrium line to the right side. Now come to the next one. Here the phosphorus tetrachloride and react with chlorine, both are gas, and product phosphorus pentachloride is also gas, and if we apply heat to this reaction, the equilibrium line will be shift to the right. Again come to another reaction, nitrogen and oxygen react to produce nitrous oxide. Here there is only here is only 1, and here is only 1, and here is 2. That means 1 plus 1 2, and there is only 2. That's why that there is no change of equilibrium line, because the number of mole is similar. Dear students, I say it will be shift to the left. It will be shift to the left, because here is 1 and here is 1 plus 2, and here is 1. There is we know if we apply pressure to the if we apply pressure to any chemical reaction which is less in number, the equilibrium will shift to that side. That means here is 1, the equilibrium will shift to the right side. Now come to the effect of concentration. Equilibrium of all reactants are affected by the concentration of the reactant, and it is so very much easy. If we increase the concentration of the reactant, that time the product concentration also will be increased to neutralize the effect of factors. If we decrease the concentration of any reactant, that time the concentration of product also be decreased. Thus it neutralizes the effect of factors. Now come to the exercise. Which of the following acids present in vinegar? Citric acid, acetic acid, tartaric acid, and ascorbic acid. We know acetic acid present in the vinegar, so answer will be B. Now come to next one, which can be used in the wound of bee stinging. Then this will be lime. And now come to next one. What type of reaction occurs where antacid medicine is taken? We inside our stomach there is hydrochloric acid. When we feel acidity, we take antacid. Antacid is aluminium or magnesium hydroxide, and it react with hydrochloric acid and produce the salt and water. This is the neutralization reaction. This is the neutralization reaction. Now come to the next one. In the reaction, sulfuric acid and magnesium oxide, this is acid and base, and when acid and base react with each other, it produces salt and water. It produces, that means magnesium sulfate plus water, and this is neutralization reaction. In the when the neutralization reaction is occurring here, the heat also produced, but that is non-redox reaction. That's why no electron transportation is occurs and no precipitation also occurs. Now this one is the correct, so it will be A. The reaction is ferrous chloride react with chlorine, produce ferric chloride. It is isomerization reaction, redox reaction, addition reaction. Dear students, two things join to make one thing. This is addition reaction, and we know here in addition reaction it also redox reaction. That means here electron transfer is occurs. So the answer will be 2 and 3. Now come for the last one. What is the oxidation number of sulfur in sulfuric acid? We know the oxidation number is -2. This multiply with 4, that is -8, and it is +1 multiply with 2 +2. So make it 0. We have to provide +6. That time it will be 0. So the sulfur's oxidation number is +6. Dear students, this is your homework number 7. This question answer you have to write. What is hydrolysis reaction? What is hydration? What is isomerization? What is polymerization? Write down the principle of Shatterias, and last one, write the definition of the rate of reaction, and you have to submit this after the vacation of puja. Dear students, this is an important chapter for you, so read the chapter again and again and learn all the basic information. Thank you, Allah.